One of our challenges with a new client is to make sure we remove all the obstacles to them working out. That can be the time of day, the days of the week, the trainers they're working with, and even the place. Sometimes it's inconvenient to actually make it to one of our 2 facilities. That's why we offer online personal training. But what is it like? What is it like to do online personal training? Well, we're speaking with Ruth Carmichael, former in-person client who is now online, about the online personal training experience today on the Personal Age Fitness Podcast. Hey, good day, and welcome to the Personal Age Fitness Podcast. My name is Garrett Williamson. I'm president of Personal Age Fitness. Thank you so much for joining us today on this podcast, talking about online personal training with my guest today, Ruth Carmichael. Ruth, welcome to the show. Thank you for being on.
Thank you so much for having me.
I appreciate you being here. We're going to dive into the topic and talk about, get into what 30% of our clientele do, which is train with us online. But before we get into it, I want to tell you how to get in touch with the show. If you have any questions about this show or any others, or as always, have any questions about dispelling the myths of health, fitness, and wellness, please contact us at area code 251-278-3343. That's 251-278-EDGE. You can also reach me at Garrett, Garrett, at personalagefitness.com. Personalagefitness.com is our website. Also, Personal Age Fitness is our Facebook page. Contact us on either one of those locations. Hit me up on X at Team PE if you so desire. This is something I talk about a lot, and it's funny. The thing I say about online personal training is those that don't want to do online have never tried online. and because I find that, everybody that tries online, ends up doing online or in some aspect of it. But you didn't start out online.
Right.
So before we get into that, I want to talk about, what do you do? I know you're not, you train 24/7. Is that pretty much your job?
Oh, yeah, I train 24/7 all the time. Yeah, that's what I do.
We just turn the camera
and
on
work full time
6 in the morning and just kind of go to it. No, what do you do? Tell us about your life.
So I am a scientist. I'm a marine scientist, and I also am a professor. So I spend... I have this interesting job where will be doing maybe sometimes something very, very intensive and physical, but then all the rest of the time I am pretty much hunched over a computer at a desk or standing in front of a room talking.
I got you. Now, and where you're involved in this? It's okay to say so.
I am at the Dauphin Island Sea Lab, and I'm also at the University of South Alabama.
Of course, who has a fantastic marine science program and
Absolutely.
A very tight tie to the Dauphin Island Sea Lab, I would say. So, and I'm very proud, and you know this, and I love sharing this, that I'm very proud to be a board member of the Dauphin Island Sea Lab Foundation, because I'm a big fan of the Sea Lab. And especially, I've actually talked about this on the show before, the manatees that we see out in front of our house, and which is why you and my wife speak
yes.
on quite often. So, but as far as the training is concerned, you didn't start out online.
Right.
You started out in person in the facility. So how was that?
It was fantastic, and it actually might be useful to know a little bit of my history, that, while I have a job that sometimes can be quite physical, and I certainly, when I was younger, did a lot of activity. You get wrapped up in your career, you get wrapped up in, especially if you have a small child or children, I basically got completely away from doing anything for myself,
right.
Personal well-being, and working out was part of that. It took me many, many years to learn, and kind of had to be kind of pushed into it by my husband, was that while I am capable and intelligent enough to know what I need to do, I know how to go to the gym. I actually know how to train. I'm
right.
not, I wasn't coming at it with no knowledge.
Yes.
But I wasn't doing it.
Right.
I was not going to do it.
Right.
And when I would start, I bought 1 million gym memberships. People do that, and I would have problems with, they wouldn't have reliable, childcare. It would be bad times for me. And also I'd get home and I'd be tired, and the motivation to go out would be zero.
Yeah.
And so and then I also started developing problems, right? Because you guys probably say this all the time, right? Motion is lotion, right?
Yes,
and if
yes.
you use it or lose it.
Period. Absolutely.
I was losing it. I had early onset arthritis in my knees. I had some problems with spinal stenosis. So I had medical issues too that were bothering me. And so
right.
I got to a point where I could get to work, I could get home from work, I could barely move.
Yeah.
Like in a you know, I always knew there were people way worse than me, but I mean, it would even hurt to climb the stairs, even
Yeah.
just to go to the second floor of our house.
Mm-hmm.
So my husband finally said, you know, you absolutely have to carve out time for yourself. You have to go. And I cannot remember exactly how we got connected to Personal Edge Fitness, but he
Right.
told me this is the place I have to go. And I came here, and I love your style of the setup of
Thank you.
the facility and how you basically you only work with a trainer. You
Right.
come in, you work. And I had never experienced anything like that before. So that
Right.
for me was a big hook that
Yeah,
got
I
me here in the
understand,
first place.
sure.
But yeah, I was coming here, and part of the big draw for me to come here and why it worked out so well, and probably one of the things that just got me here, is my son's schools were right across the street.
Oh, well, yeah, convenient. Yeah.
So I
definitely.
had to bring him here at like 6:45 in the morning anyway. And so it made it easier. That's probably what really made it possible for me to actually be convinced to start coming.
Sure.
And so I would come either in the morning when I'd be dropping him off at school, or
Right.
in the afternoon when I'd be picking him up. And he'd sit down there in the lobby and he'd hang out and he'd do
Yeah.
his homework, or he'd read books. And that was great, and it was working great. I mean,
Right.
it really, that whole motion is lotion thing, and just, that was my goal. I came in, I think that was another thing I had to learn, to come in with a very realistic goal,
Sure.
which is just, I wanted to be able to move comfortably.
Right.
And
right.
and consistently, you
Yeah,
know, and not
yeah.
not to get back to where I was when I was 28.
Right.
That's a really hard goal to let go of.
I understand.
But I think once you can let go of that and then just set a more realistic goal, and that's what worked for me.
Sure.
So
sure,
yeah, so I
sure.
started out,
Right
coming
here,
here.
and one of the things you talked about is one that we tell all the time. We have the most qualified staff in the Southeast, and this facility actually won a statewide design award. We have some of the nicest facilities. But what do we sell? What's the biggest thing we sell? Accountability. You know, and showing
Oh,
up.
absolutely,
Exactly.
absolutely.
Showing up, and then on top of that, as you said, thank you very much for saying so, expertise and what have you. But there was a change, and I want to say it happened during COVID, but there was a change where you actually went to online.
I think it was just COVID. And we went to online. I didn't want to stop. I was really worried because we made all this progress. I was really worried about, losing it and not being
Right.
able to continue. And so we went online. And, you know, I've always done, like I said, I've worked out
Right.
a lot in
yes.
the past. So I have the stuff, right?
Right,
It was
exactly.
sitting gathering dust, but I
Right.
had all the stuff. So I had a step, and and you wouldn't have to. I mean, I had a mat, and I had just a few weights. I actually have acquired a lot more things
Right.
since
yeah.
I've been working out virtually. But
I'm
I have a
sure.
little, Josh calls it my toys.
Right.
I have a little selection of toys that sit over in the corner of our front room.
Sure.
And yeah, so I have mats and blocks and straps and, you know, bands and all the
Right.
things that I need. But it's easy. It just tucks away, and then.
Sure.
And
Pull
I
it
have
out
a
when you
ball.
need
I have a ball behind the couch. I have a step behind the couch. I have a,
You've actually, because you and I worked out a few times during COVID, and you didn't have as many toys at that time. So as I said before, we have a lot of our clients that don't have any toys whatsoever. But it is that seems to be a pattern. As people get more involved in the online, they'll actually start amassing their own toys and whatever. So that does make a difference.
I mean, really, all you need is a mat. That's
Right.
helpful.
Right.
But we have hardwood floors,
Yeah.
so we have little area rugs. I have to say, you have to have the padding.
Yeah.
So I put
agree.
my mat over the carpet, and then I have a separate little pad for my knees and things. But really, we could do everything we need to do with just that.
Right. I wouldn't doubt it.
You know,
Wouldn't doubt it.
but now that I've been with Personal Edge for a while.
Right.
I'm able to do more. I like having the extra toys.
Of course, yes. And you know, adding more equipment to it. Of course, you're going to be able to vary your workout even more. So how has it been? Because I know that there were times when you were coming in person where there was some challenges. Because I mean, I know your son's school is close by.
Mm.
Your work is not close by.
My work is not close by, and then of course my son continued to grow.
Yeah.
And then his school was not close by.
Right.
And I do have to say, I think for me, one of the things I really had to learn was I wasn't going to keep doing this if I weren't meeting a trainer.
Right.
If this were just a regular gym situation where
Right.
I just came in and had to work out on my own, even, like I said, even though I know what to do, I wouldn't do it.
Right,
There's
understand.
something about that. You said you sell accountability, which is absolutely on point, that not only, you know, apparently me just paying for something
Right.
isn't enough accountability.
I understand.
But if I know that other person is going to be sitting there waiting for me,
Right.
and also just having someone to, I don't know, different people need different things, but I love having someone cheer me on, someone count. You know, it's completely different.
Right. I understand.
And, you know, so having that person there, having that person guide me, you know, if I have any problems with something's uncomfortable. I mean, this is the magic that you guys do, right?
Thank you.
That if I can get partway in an exercise and say, ooh, that hurts my knee. And normally I would give up.
Right.
But having
right.
that person there to say, hey, try this, try just adjusting your foot out, or let's stop, let's
Yeah.
do this other thing.
Yeah.
I am amazed how many times I've gone into something thinking I can't do that.
Right.
And I will never be able to do that. And I find with one minor adjustment, and I can do that, and I'm good at it, you know. But so if I didn't have that and that accountability, the other person waiting there for me, knowing
Right.
it's not just about me paying for it, it's also knowing I got to show up, because no matter how I feel today, someone's going to be waiting for me and there to cheer me on.
Sure.
Life changing.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And it's a big part of what we talk, especially with the expertise. But the other thing is that most people, when they talk about doing online, and like I said at the beginning, the only people that are against online have never done online. And I'm trying to dispel that myth. But one of the things they think is, okay, somebody's just going to be on TV sitting in front of you counting repetitions. They're not. Then I mean, how can that help or whatever? Can you help somebody understand what the experience actually is?
I think my relationship with my trainers is exactly the same. There's no difference being virtual, being in here.
Right.
The only thing that sometimes I wonder about is if maybe, if somebody's there and they can see you, maybe they would adjust you or something better. But, they do such a good job. Like, they'll just say, hey, can you turn around, or move the camera down, or move the camera up, or change your position so I can see what you're doing. And they're up in there looking at me, and I really, our relationship is exactly the same. And the big thing for me, and the reason why I have stayed virtual, again, I think it's one of those things, I had to learn what was right for me.
Right.
But if I still had to come here after driving 45 minutes to work and back every day
Right.
with an exhausting job, even if I am just sitting hunked over the computer, I am stiff, I am tight, I'm exhausted. I still have to worry about getting home and making dinner, and probably whether it's grading papers or reading proposals or doing work. I still do sometimes another 4 hours of work at night.
Right.
I wouldn't fit in driving then 20 minutes to a gym,
Yeah.
working out even for a half hour or an hour, and then another 20 minutes back. And then I also personally, I hate putting all my clothes in a bag,
Right.
and then having to remember. I'm one of those people, I get to the gym and then I shower and then like, oh, I have no underwear.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I hate that stuff. So for me, it was so much easier when I'm done with my work day, or when I'm starting my work day, I'm at my house.
Right.
I don't have to do any other extra preparations.
Yeah.
All I have to do is roll out my mat. And I have literally been like pulling into the driveway, because somebody caught me at work and I was late. I'm pulling into the driveway. I got somebody calling me to start my, workout. And I'm like, give me 2 minutes to change,
Yeah.
but I can still do it. I can still make that workout.
Right,
If
right.
I had to go to the gym, that wouldn't happen.
Right, exactly.
And so for me, being able to do that virtually has been the reason why I've been able to stay here and continue.
Right.
It's the reason why I can climb your stairs.
Right.
Because I could do this
Yeah.
virtually,
Yeah.
has allowed me to still fit it into my crazy particular life.
That's something we talk about a lot that's the reason we have the session time that we do is because nobody wants to spend, very few, I should say. I've got some trainers that would love to spend 4 or 5 hours training a day. Don't get me wrong, but very few people have the time to really, dedicate 2 hours out of their day to make it work. So that's why we do the half-hour resistance, half-hour cardio. Some people do their cardio on another day, so they're in here for a half an hour. But even traveling here, that can be, especially in your situation, that can be a challenging, like you say. You still got to carve out. You got to get up. You got to drive here. You've got to change clothes, shower afterwards, or whatever, and drive to work. And like you say, the online removes that barrier. And we talk about that a lot about the fact that we try our best to remove barriers. We take clients as early as 5 in the morning, take them to 6:30 in the evening, have a variety of trainers on staff, all kind of availability. But that's why we offer that online also, is because of time. I don't know if you've done this yet. Have you and Scott, because your husband works out here also. And actually, this is the first time we've had a husband and wife do a podcast, because he and I actually did a podcast and together. But I don't know if y'all have done this. If you have done a session online out of town.
We have.
Okay.
And we've done a session online out of town together.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And that's the thing. And, it's funny because we went to Disney, we took our son to Disney, and we did Disney Universal Studios. And, I wasn't sure, because sometimes, depending on how I travel, that's the other thing. I have a really crazy schedule. I travel a lot for work.
Right.
I have, meetings will be scheduled in the night or in the morning, and field work and things. So also you guys are incredibly flexible.
Thank you.
About letting me, oh my gosh, I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks, or I'm going to not be able to do it Wednesday. Can we pop it over to Thursday? And,
Sure.
you know, adjusting and working with my schedule. So thank you.
Glad
But
to do it.
you know, I told my husband, I'm like, well, do we want to just cancel? And he's like, no, we can't cancel. And so we were at I think it was at Disney. We were at one of the resort hotels.
Right.
We went, got a couple, they had mats there.
Yeah.
We got a couple of their mats. There were other people in the gym. We were going to go into their gym and do it.
Right.
And I've actually worked out with you guys virtually in gyms in hotels all over the world.
Oh, awesome,
I even did it
awesome.
once in the convention center in Mobile. You can ask Hunter about that.
Oh,
one,
I will.
'cause
That's
that
great.
was a weird one. But my husband and I we went outside by the pool.
Yeah.
And we just did our workout by the
Right.
pool,
Right.
really early in the morning. All the people were going out, and they were, you know, it was the workers were,
Right.
taking out the trash and putting up the umbrellas and stuff, and the sun was rising, and they were just looking at us like we were weird. But we did that on vacation, and I've done it several times from hotel rooms all over the
Oh, wow.
place,
Wow.
because you can make it work, or from the gyms and hotels. And the weirdest one was I was actually at a conference at the convention center in Mobile,
Yeah.
and I was at an evening poster session and cocktail hour,
Right.
and I'm like, I got to get my workout in. And so
Yeah.
I found a room off to the side. I asked the employees to let me in,
Yeah.
and I put my bag in there, and then I went and I did my workout.
Right.
And then after I did my workout, I put my dress clothes back on, and I went back out to the cocktail hour.
And didn't have to miss it.
I didn't have
And
to miss it.
And think about how little time that was. Basically carving out, I'm gonna say 35 minutes, because you did 30-minute session, and then 5 minutes to kind of get in and get out, what
Yeah.
have you. So that's incredible.
And nobody knew except my trainer. He's like, "Are you kidding me? That's what you're doing?" I'm like, "Oh yeah."
That's great. And speaking for our half, we love that challenge. I mean, we're actually starting some posts that we're going to be doing about where in the world is Personal Edge, because of all the people we train in different locations and doing screenshots of where they are and
my
telling them where they
gosh.
are. So there was a client that we trained. It was our first online client, believe it or not, and was not. We were training other people at the time, but she happens to be our first online client we ever trained. And in 1 week, we trained her in Dallas, Texas, Gulf Shores, Mobile in person, in London,
Wow.
and then I think it was back to New York, all in the same week. She was making up a bunch of days, and we were determined to cram them in. So
That's impressive.
okay, the question, of course, I know the answer to, but a lot of people don't know is, all right, so when you're doing this, and since you've got to do this video back and forth, virtual, whatever, so you must have some kind of special equipment.
Oh. Yeah, my special equipment is my iPhone.
Yeah, exactly.
It's funny. I've thought about one time I used my computer, and
Right.
it was actually better because you have a bigger screen.
Yeah, exactly.
But usually I don't even think of it, and I don't take the time to set it up. So
Right.
I just grab my iPhone, I just put it wherever. And the cool thing about that is also we can move around. So if I need
Yeah.
a wall or if I need something, I just grab my iPhone and you prop it up. So we have bookshelves.
Yeah.
I use bookshelves when I'm in one room. When I'm in the other room, I actually have a one of those cat climbing things.
Yeah, cat trees.
Cat, and I put it in the cat tree, and it's
Yeah.
great because it has the different levels, and so I
Yeah.
can just put it up and down on the different levels.
Another use for a cat tree.
Yeah.
And here I am in animal rescue and didn't even know that one. That's tremendous. That's fantastic. And we've talked about different screens. We typically use drum trainers use their iPhones. We typically use like a pad of some sort, an iPad or whatever. Now we've done it on computer also. But now I don't know if you've switched to, I think we can do it through our app now, whatever. But that's typically that modality is what we use, the iPhone, iPad, these kind of things, and it does make it easier. Do you wear headphones?
No.
You don't?
No.
So, and we have both. We have people that would wear Bluetooth headphones. We have people that won't. But you're able to hear us okay, see us okay, all that kind of good stuff. So.
Yep, and I never really had problems. And the sound is so good, actually, that they can tell. So I have turtles.
Yeah.
They can tell when my turtles are begging for food because I can hear them scratching on the tank from across the room.
That's fantastic audio there.
Yeah.
That's great.
Because
That's
it's just
great.
this morning, I'm working out, and Katie says, "Oh, your turtles are up." I'm like, "Yep, they sure are."
Now, and you bring up another point. And I don't know if you can answer this or not. How many different trainers have you worked with at Personal Edge?
How many different total?
Yeah, total number wise. You know idea?
I'm not sure. Probably at least 6 or 7. I might be underestimating too.
I would think
I
at
love
least
that.
So, I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah,
I'm glad
yeah.
to hear that.
No, in fact, I was talking to one of the trainers about it just recently. That for me, I like, because I kind of know, like now I know what different trainers, like what their jam is.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And so I know I'm going to have an upper body day. I'm going to have the lower body day. I'm going to have the stretch day. And they also kind of work. They know what I like.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
we kind of work that out. You know.
Right.
I've also learned you never say you don't like something or you like something, because if you say you don't like it, you're going to see it all the time. Say, I hate this exercise. That's the exercise you're going to get.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you get it's too true. So, and you point out something I talk about quite often, and I'm going to get back to why I brought that up in a minute, but I talk about the fact that the most of our clients, and very few they love the variety, and that's why we adopted that system years ago, because we, as I say, we have the most qualified staff in the Southeast, but we all train. We have our own brains. We have our own passions, our own things that we really like. You said that. This is you call it their jam, and we all have that. But the neat thing about not having to be everything to every client is the fact that I can stay within my jam. Hunter can stay with his. Katie can stay with hers. But what I was bringing up a minute ago is that being online, you actually have access to more of a variety than our in-person clients.
That makes sense, sure.
Because our in-person clients, they'll see the trainers that are in that facility. But you're training, you just mentioned training with Katie. Well, Katie's on the Eastern Shore today.
And
we're
when
in
Josh
mobile
used to
location.
be in Daphne,
exactly.
I would train with Josh all the time.
Right.
And I wouldn't change that at all. I mean, so I have 3 trainers that I train with regularly.
Right.
But I love that, we mix it up.
Right.
And then I get something a little different, that I love that variety.
Yeah.
And then of course, with my crazy schedule, if I have to reschedule, I'm not worried about, oh gosh, I have to pick a time that's going to fit that one particular trainer.
Right.
I've never, everybody's good. It's just going to be something new and different. And it's always great.
I would think that you've developed a pretty good relationship with Erica. Also, because the schedule changes and what have, which makes it a big deal. And I appreciate you saying that, because that's what we say. Difficult schedules are our forte. And the first thing we have to provide trainers that are going to all train under the same basic code of ethics, because you expect a certain level of training here. And so if you worked with Lindsay for a long time, fantastic trainer. You worked with Katie, you worked with Josh, you worked with great trainers. So the next person that comes on there better be at that level, though they may be a little different. But since you're open to work with a variety of trainers, then it opens up your schedule. And so we're able to fit that. So kudos to you. I appreciate that. We love having that availability. that we appreciate you being available so that you are open to working with the different trainers. And thank you for what you said about it, because we really push the variety. As I've said, we have the most qualified staff in the Southeast, and it's a good argument that I have the best trainer in the Southeast on my staff. But nobody's as good as our team. And I think you've seen what I mean by that.
Oh, absolutely. And you do work as a team. I want to say 2 things. One is that you have to give some kudos to Erica, because she's the one who does manage all those changes.
Absolutely.
And she's responsive. Sometimes, 'cause I'll realize or figure out that I have a schedule conflict at a weird time.
Right.
And I'll text her when I'm thinking about it, but I never expect her to respond outside of business hours.
Right.
And she does.
Yeah,
and sometimes I'm like, go to bed. What are you doing? You go be with your kids. Don't do this.
Exactly.
But she's always on top of things. She's always very accommodating and very kind about it. The other thing that I really think is key to why your team, that whole thing, like you have different people and you have all the variety. I have been places where you get different people with different variety, but then they actually clash against each other. Like you'll hear one thing from one person and something different from somebody else, and each one will swear, oh, it's this is, I'm right. That's not team. Right?
No,
you guys are
not.
Really a team.
Yes,
and if somebody tells me something and then somebody else tells me to do something differently, every single time I have ever asked about that and said, oh, well, so-and-so told me to do this. And there's always a reason. There's always because, and then they get excited and they get into it. Yeah, what they were trying to have you do was this, and now we're doing something slightly different, which is that. Right. And it's almost like, even though each of your trainers has their own specialty and does their own thing and has their own style or whatever, you're all sort of teaching the same thing.
Yeah,
you're all working in the same way. And it's amazing. I think that whole mindset and that continuity, you all, it just the common goals and what you want for your clients and how and everyone's so supportive and kind. Oh
Thank
my
you.
gosh. That's part of all the whole team thing. I don't know where you find these people, but yeah, you have a magical group.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And we're very proud of that. The culture for the clients starts with the culture on the staff. And when I, we a lot of people throw the word around team, we're a team. No, we are. And you see what I mean. And we think the world of each other. We're crazy about each other. And, but you understand this. You're a scientist. At the end of the day, with your colleagues, there's some basic rules that it's in the science. It's been researched, it's been studied, it's there, we know it. And we're not going to be going outside of that. Now, hypothesis about something that may happen in the future, sure. You have differences about that. And it's the same thing we have about going about training somebody. If the protocol's set up, we've got guidelines. We know that this person has arthritis. You have to stay within these parameters. They need to do glute strength, and they've got these limitations. Okay, that opens up these variety of exercises and the way they like to train, and are they online? What equipment's available to them? We know all that. But at the same time, Hunter may go about it just a little different, and Josh is going to go a little different. Neither one of them are wrong, but that's where the difference comes in. But I appreciate what you said about that, about the infighting that can go on in a lot of facilities, and
not a bit of it here.
Oh, thank you.
Not a bit of it. Everybody's very supportive of everybody else, and it's also that it shows that. I've picked up on this because I'm a lifelong learner. I see that in your team too.
Thank you.
I will regularly hear, I watched this thing, or I saw this thing, or I read this thing, and it's a modification of what I used to do, and then they'll try it, and then they'll tell, because you guys talk to each other, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So you share ideas, and then I'll get it again from somebody else, and they'll say, "Oh yeah, we just learned this thing," and it's really cool to see that you guys all. It's very obvious. You're not working against each other. You're very much working with each other.
I'll share something with you. Don't tell anybody. but something we tell our exercise specialists when we sign them on. They don't train for the first few weeks they're here. They're actually training with us and learning our culture, learning how we operate and whatever. And we always tell them after about a month or so, once you're on the floor, we expect to be stealing exercises from you. And because they're the ones that when you're new into the field, that's what you're fascinated with. You're fascinated with finding a variety of exercises. You're on YouTube. You're researching all kinds of exercises. They love that. It's the reason we call them exercise specialists. But we always tell them we will be stealing, and we plan to steal exercises from you. And we always jokingly say, if it goes well, if it goes bad, blaming it on you. If it goes well, we're taking all the credit. But it's a running joke, and yeah, that's how we keep up with the moats through the mind-body system. We also have a monthly meeting with all staff, and we actually discuss any challenges we were having with clients or questions we have with clients, and we throw it on the table. There's no ego, and I'm so glad that that's coming out on the other side.
Oh, it totally comes through. And I said I have worked out a lot in the past, and certainly when I was younger, and I worked at a gym when I was in graduate school, when I was way young. But yeah, this is probably the only place I've ever been that you don't see that you don't just see people who have their own rigid mindset about how something should be done, and then people are working against each other. You guys are absolutely all working.
Well, I appreciate that definitely very much,
yeah.
and it's think about it though. That in your work life, that's the kind of place you want to work.
Absolutely, and that's the place you want to be. Yeah, you want to be. You want to spend time there.
Right.
And I'll tell this one little story. It's so sweet. Excuse me. My husband is now going to take a physically demand. So my husband's he's in emergency medical service,
right.
But he's going to take a training class, and it's going to require a lot of physical.
Right.
Certain types of physical strength, right?
Sure.
Physical ability. And he's been specifically training for it with the trainers here.
Right.
And he left to go on his trip, and everybody made a chat group to support him.
Yeah. Just got invited to it the other day, so wished him a good luck on it. So that was fantastic. We're going to follow him along.
Terrible job just explaining that, but yeah, I love that's the kind of support. That's the Personal Edge team.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
That's
I appreciate
the kind
it.
of support you give.
That's actually, I appreciate you bringing that up, because that's actually through our app. And in fact, we've got Katie's going to be on and do a podcast about talking about our app. And I'm so glad we're able to use that. But thank you so much for bringing that up. Appreciate it, because we love that kind of stuff. That we're so looking forward forward, and you know, when our clients win, we win. I mean, it's massive. It's like it'll be on Sunday, and we'll hear that somebody did great on a race on Saturday night, and you would think that the staff is having a meeting because we were texting back each other in one of our chat groups. Oh, that's great! He did it. He fantastic. That was wonderful. And sending kudos out, and because yes, is that good for our business to do? Of course, but more importantly, it's a win for us. I mean, we love it. We absolutely love it. So anyway.
No, it comes through that you all genuinely care about your clients.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Ask I'm always amazed, like, you guys will remember things about me that I forgot. Like, I'll mention something in passing, and then they'll come in and like, oh, congratulations on, or oh, yay,
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So, well, look, I appreciate it. I appreciate you coming on and talking about the online experience, because I really wanted to dispel the myths about the fears that people have with training online. And I think it opens up a whole new world of training, and of course, you shared that with us. So I appreciate you being on, and appreciate you being coming on and being so willing, and for your kind words very much.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me. Happy to talk about it.
Listen, I can't express enough the what we go out, how we go out of our way to basically remove all the barriers toward training. And one thing to consider, of course, is online. It does open up a lot of possibilities for you. And if you're interested in talking about that, and just set up a consult and sit down and talking about it, I would love to. Give me a call at area code 251-278-3343, 251-278-EDGE. Reach out to me at garrett@personaledgefitness.com. That's our website, Facebook page, Personal Edge Fitness. Hit me up on X at Team PE if so inclined. One more way of training, one more way, a variety of working it to your schedule, online training, and that's one more way we help you reach your level of wellness. Thank you so much for joining me today. We'll see you next time.